I would like you to speak about the importance of people forgiving their parents. And also, I heard you speak about the need for mothers and fathers to be humble. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about the importance of people forgiving. This seems like to be the trend right now. People want to be angry at their parents and blame their parents for everything. Please speak about the importance of forgiving your parents.
Well, everything is what goes around comes around. As above, so below. If you want to end the cycle, just generational trauma, then you have to look at your parents with new eyes. Who were they at 18 or 20 or 24 or 25? They were younger minds, less information than if they were in their 30s, 40s, 50s or up. So they had some limitations. So they look at them as human beings with limitations, just as you have some limitations yourself. And then that's when the compassion can kick in. Now you have children. If you have done everything you could for your children, if you did not know how to forgive your parents, this will happen. You'll say, I did this for you, I did that for you, why are you complaining? And they're going to say, yeah, you did this and you did that. You gave me a place to live, you had food, you got me to school, but that event that I need you to come to support me, you never have time. You're always working. Miss, I was working so I can take care of you, but I needed you to have time for me. What about me? Then they're mad. So the level of your compassion, check yourself at the door. Go back to your parents and say, thank you. Sometimes they say, thank you for just sending me to my grandmother to raise me, because they didn't have the wherewithal emotionally or psychologically. They had to give it to somebody who could do better than they could possibly do. And sometimes they had to grow up, and when they become older, they may be looking for you, may have been looking for you. Because so many of our young people that come to me have been adopted. And I said, wow, that's something else. So their parents really couldn't even get to the first level. They were that broken. Because most people conceive just because they had sex, not because they were planning. And they just love their child or not love their child, and take care of them or not take care of them. It's happenstance. But when someone's looking for a child, they're usually looking to be of service and to support that being to grow up. So we're in this world, and then when you hold that animosity to your parents, you're going to marry your parents. That man that you're upset with your father, you're mad with him about him, you're going to have a husband that's going to be just like your father on some level. He won't be emotionally accessible. Maybe your father wasn't there, he was going through his own financial struggle, because there's a price tag on men. Fatherhood is not just the finance that you have, but it's also the wisdom that you may impart on your children, or an example of compassion or helping in the home, or whatever that level is. A man is not just a price tag, So if the father can't be in the home because he feels like he's not worth it because he doesn't have it like that, the child will be without a parent, and they won't be whole. So they're always looking for their father. And a lot of men, they go from one man to the next, always looking for their father and never getting peace. Or the woman may be angry at her mother, and she's angry at her mother, so she attracts friends that are the same as her mother. It's important that we know that it takes a village, literally, to raise a human being, not just a child. The mother, out of 100% of giving to a soul to grow, the mother may have 40% that she's supposed to give. And the father has maybe his 35% that he's supposed to give. And then your best friend next door neighbor, a friend who's in your family, comes in and out of your home and cares for your family, that neighbor may give 10%, just watching over you and give you some advice as you walk in the world. And maybe there's a grandmother that gives you that 20% of strong roots, or that grandfather. It's taken a whole village to participate in raising a being, a soul. So if the mother now doesn't have that other 40, 50, or 60% to help you, then she becomes overloaded, and she's not a great parent. She cannot grow you. She cannot parent you in the right way. So the rites of passage to me is a solution. bringing them together, allowing other family members. When the women, when this is why women love Sacred Woman, it's because it's such a community of women. Sometimes the woman becomes like an auntie in the spirit or a best friend, someone you can confide in. She can grow you, you can grow her. Sometimes it's just coming as a mother because your mother made a transition. I remember a dear friend of mine, she's taking care of my mother. My mother's 99 years old. She's going to make it to 100. And her name is Wahida. 35 years ago in that sister-to-sister circle that I gave, Queen Afua was a part of that, my dear friend, she said her mother had just passed, and she said it in a class, I want to die because my mother just passed, because my mother was my best friend. And I said to her, I said, Wahida, I'll share my mother with you. And she said, oh. Next thing I know, Wahida's at the house in my mother's old school pajamas, and they sit in the bed looking at pictures of family. It was real. It wasn't pretend. It was real. And that's how we can be for each other. We can fill in the gap. So it's not being angry at your mother for, she was only to do a portion. And sometimes you have to have a best friend steps in as a spiritual uncle. That's the beauty of extended family. We have a community, we have a village of us. And so if we activate our village, then no one would be angry at the mother, nor angry at the father. You just understand that they fell. They had an issue. They were challenged, just like you may be. And then we also keep recycling what happened when our mother was unconscious. When she maybe had a few boyfriends and some of them were not nice to the daughter. Or sometimes there's some touching the daughters. So the daughters are upset on different levels. And then the mother, she's a single parent, she's out of the house a lot. So they didn't get that nurturing necessary from their mother. But that's why you go into extended family. I have my best friends. They help to raise my children too. So my children would call my auntie. My best friend, Queen Esther, her daughter says auntie. And hallelujah, Jaleel and hallelujah say auntie to me. And same thing with my children. It's the same, they call her auntie. And she's not my blood sister. And see, those are things, those are relationships that can help us to mend us, so we don't have to be angry at a person because we have a community. That's why I always have a community center, because the community center allows for that interaction, which is, we don't get that from looking at from a camera, but we can get some of it. Some of it can heal us.
We give thanks anyway.